Hey, in today's video, I'm going to tell you how I became that Kilted Guy over 6 years ago. Okay, by request, some of you have asked how I became that Kilted Guy. Well, since this is my personal vlog, I feel like I can tell you more about that kind of stuff over here. And if you haven't yet subscribed, be sure and subscribe, like, and all that good stuff to help this channel grow too. But I'm going to get into the short history of how I became that Kilted Guy. Okay, kind of the way this started is it actually started in about 2006, really. What happened in 2006 is I was having to take care of my mom full-time due to a traumatic brain injury that left her with very little short-term memory, and we were trying to help her rehab. But because of that, she was a danger to herself. She could leave a flame on, she could leave water running, overflowing things. So I had her at my place taking care of her 24/7. Well, I couldn't go out and work, so I was helping my dad doing a little bit of stuff, and I was making just enough to get by. Hi, kitty. This is my sketch kitty. He's really friendly. So anyway, one day I came across this video about biodiesel. Is pretty cool. Now, biodiesel is a alternative fuel for diesel engines made out of cooking oil. So I showed this video to my dad because he and I both had diesel trucks, and he goes, wow, that's really cool. My dad was all about saving a buck, and you could make biodiesel for about 50 cents a gallon at that time. He goes, let's build one of those. And I'm like, I don't know anything about that. He goes, you figure it out, I'll pay for it. Because I told him I also didn't have the money at the time. So I said, all right, I got time. So what I did is when I would put my mom to bed, I'd start researching it on the internet, and I figured, well, what better way to keep track of it than to type it into notes, kind of organize it by chapters, because there's a lot to biodiesel. You have to understand how it's made, what it's made from, what's not acceptable to make it from, how to do titration, store it, clean it, wash it, and the limitations in the winter, etc. So pretty soon I realized I was basically writing a little book, and I think I had about 50 pages written, so I decided to try and self-publish it. Sure enough, people started buying it, and next thing I know, it progressed to the point where instead of me going to the copy shop and having everything done, I had a $700 color laser printer, my own binding machine, and I was just my own book manufacturing company, shipping them out. Well, that went for a while, and then that led to people asking me if I would build them one. They liked my concepts, my understanding of it. They wanted me to build them one, so I started doing that. And then a publisher bought one of my self-published books, and they asked me if I would like to publish it for real, hard copy. Actually, it's a soft cover book, but it's, professional book. It's now in the bookstores on Amazon and that. If you want to check it out, it's called The Do-It-Yourself Guide to Biodiesel. So in order to do that, I had to go through and spend a bunch of time rewriting it, and it took me a couple thousand hours to write this book. But it led into me manufacturing biodiesel equipment, and I was having fun with it. I liked the concept, and I was making a living. That's about all, because it was expensive to do. It was hard to figure out the pricing and all that. And eventually in 2008, we did a lot of business because fuel prices went over $4 a gallon, and then they tanked at the end of the year. I went from having 3 distributors all across the country selling for me, 5 employees in my big shop, forklifts, the whole thing, to me and my wife working out of a 1-car garage. It slowed it down so much I had to lay everybody off, and at that point I realized, you know what, I think I'm just going to close up the whole thing. And I had sold biodiesel processors to the Air Force Academy, to places in Tanzania, Africa, and all over, but it was still a tough business. We were currently mostly selling to schools, a school kit I put together. So anyway, in one way I created to sell my books and my processors was I created a free online biodiesel course. You would sign up your email, it would enroll you in it and walk you through it over about a week and a half. You'd get 7 courses delivered to you, and you would get to learn about the basics of biodiesel. Now what that was is it was basically a stripped down version of my book, and that helped me sell the full version of the book. And for the ones that didn't want to mess with it, they would buy our processors, or maybe they were just trying to learn. I heard some schools even bought copies of my books to teach in school, so it was pretty cool. Well, anyway, at the end of when I was closing everything up, that list still had 5,000 subscribers in it. I had put somewhere around 30,000 people through that course, and maybe more. I never actually had an actual count because they would subscribe and unsubscribe, and I know I still had 5,000 plus people on there. But it was costing me $30 a month for a list I wasn't going to use, so I thought, let's test out something. I'm going to send out a blast email to all the viewers or all the subscribers for an ebook someone else wrote, and it was about hydrogen, and another one about solar. And if they bought it, I had nothing to do with it. The other company would ship it to them, by email, that whole thing. I just sent the email out. Well, I made $1,600 in that one email. So that kind of got my brain thinking, okay, I got to figure out how to tap into the power of this internet by helping people. Well, fast forward to 2015. In December, I was watching some other drywall videos, and they were honestly crappy. They were teaching lousy methods, lousy video quality, etc. And I just looked at my wife and went, man, I could do better than that. And then it just kind of clicked. There's my opportunity. So in December 2015, I got started on figuring out how to work on YouTube. Now, that's how I started YouTube, but it's also about the same time I started wearing kilts. And that's why I decided to name it That Kilted Guy. I was looking for something people could remember instead of like ABC drywall. You might remember that, but after a few months you might not. That Kilted Guy is kind of a catchy name. And honestly, I had already been wearing kilts for a few months, and I had fallen in love with them. Okay, so why did I start wearing kilts in the beginning? Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you guys on this channel. So if some of this stuff I tell you freaks you out, I guess you got the choice to not subscribe or leave, but I'm just gonna tell you the truth. And it's really nothing, no big deal, but I basically don't like to wear clothes. My wife and I are nudists at home. We don't go walking down the street. If you're wondering, some of you get the wrong opinion right off the bat. If you're a nudist, you're automatically a sex pervert or something. It's just simply a comfort thing. I don't like to wear clothes. I find them binding, they leave red marks. They're just not really, honestly, healthy. They can be good for protection, warmth, and fashion. Other than that, at home, you don't need them. Well, I was talking with my wife, and I'm like, man, these blue jeans I'm wearing, they feel like I got a binder through my crotch, and they're driving me crazy. I can't stand them. Yes, I see you. So I'm like, what can I wear that wouldn't do that? I'm like, how about one of your skirts? So I went and tried one of her skirts on, and I walked around for a while, and I was honestly like, dang, it feels like I have nothing on. I actually had to look down and go, I know I've got something on, but it feels like I don't. Hi, buddy. So, of course I'm thinking, well, now wearing a skirt out in public, people are going to freak out and judge me and maybe harass me, which would be a mistake, but I don't need the harassment. So I didn't really want to go wearing skirts, although it doesn't really bother me. It's just another form of cloth to me. What we wear is irrelevant. Who we are is in our heart and in our soul and our actions towards our fellow man. So then I went, okay, but there's kilts that basically, they look like a skirt. And really a kilt, I know some of you kilt fanatics out there and Scotsmen and that are gonna freak out, but basically a kilt and a skirt are almost the same thing. They just have more flaps. You can see a kilt has like 3 flaps in the front here. It's heavier material, and of course it has pleats in the back, smooth in the front. No pockets normally. I've been buying kilts that have pockets now, because a kilt without pockets is kind of like a skirt. It has nowhere to carry your keys, your cell phone, your pocket knife, any of that stuff. And I'm a guy that likes to carry that kind of stuff. We all carry a cell phone anymore. So I thought, okay, I need a kilt with pockets. Well, the first kilt that I bought, I wasn't totally sure I was gonna like them. They're heavier. A true kilt is 8 yards of fabric. That's 24 freaking feet of fabric. That's a lot to carry around your waist. I didn't know if that was gonna solve that problem of comfort. So I bought a kilt that didn't have that much fabric. We actually went online, we were searching, we came across these kilts on clearance at landsend.com for $7 a piece. I mean, that is dirt cheap. The only catch was they were women's kilts. So what's the difference between a woman's kilt and a man's kilt? Well, really, all it was is like a shirt. Man's button go this way, women's go this way. That's it. I'm like, I don't care. I don't worry about stupid stuff like that. I figure clothing doesn't have a gender. My kilt doesn't have a penis or a vagina. It's a kilt. So we bought 6 of them. 3 of each pattern. We bought 2 of each pattern. So 3 different patterns. And my wife's a seamstress, so she took and cut one of them up and made pockets and belt loops, because they didn't have any of that. Well, then I had work kilts. So I started wearing them to work, and man, I loved them. For what I do, mostly drywall repairs, they were working out good. They were very comfortable. Let's see, you can't touch my microphone. And some of you might be worried about exposing yourself or things like that. It's never, ever been a problem. It's not that hard to not expose yourself. You get these that are knee length, nothing happens like that. But you do get a nice breeze a lot of times. You don't sweat near as much. There's 0 binding down there. They're easy on, easy off. When it's time to use the restroom, you just pull it down, or just do a couple buttons. It's convenient and it's comfortable. This guy will bug you all day for attention. He is a lover. So that's kind of how I first got into kilts. So then I started buying some different styles, and I started finding other kilt makers that were putting pockets on them. So like this kilt right here, I think it was only $39 or something. Really affordable, and it has pockets. Some of them have pockets you can actually snap off. I think this is one of them. And you can put different types of utility pockets on them. You can put belt to them. So, I've got a belt on right there. They're very functional, very lightweight. They feel like you're wearing nothing sometimes. Yeah, some people are gonna look at you funny or something, but that's mostly the trolls on the internet. I've been wearing kilts since sometime mid 2015. I've never had a personal comment that was negative. I have a lot of people that love them. They come up and tell me all the time, oh, my husband wears one, or I wear one, I just don't have it on today. There's, a lot of people that want to wear them, but they're afraid of going out in public and getting people pointing their fingers or laughing. But you know what? I got over that. When my dad passed away in 2007, I realized life is short. It's too short to worry about things like trying to impress the rest of the world. So I've learned to live my life for myself and do my own thing. And part of that is I wear a kilt a lot. Now I don't wear it all the time. There's times pants make more sense, especially in the winter time. Gets a little too breezy down there. But that's kind of the story of how I started wearing kilts. I now have probably 10 kilts. I have a few favorites, and the camo one you see a lot, that's my favorite for work, and it's partly because it hides drywall mud easier and things like that. So, you know, going back to the subject of skirts, again, they're almost the same. I have actually worn a black skirt out in public a time or two because, again, I really don't care if somebody's going to dislike me over the clothing I wear. Do I really care? Why do I care? My friends like me just the way I am, however I am, and they don't judge me. Now, some of you might wonder, oh, he must do it because he's gay or because he's a sissy or whatever. I don't know. There's a lot of judgmental people. If you're one of them, let me tell you, it really has nothing to do with anything. It has nothing to do with my sexual orientation, my gender orientation. And I guarantee, I'm 6'2" and 220. You wouldn't want to mess with me. I've never been in a fight because I don't believe in fighting. I also know that if I did, I'd hurt somebody really bad because I'm strong, I'm fast, I'm smart. I don't want to do it. So I find a way to walk away. I avoid the situations where things are getting to that point. I have told a few people off. I've gotten in a few people's face. They always back away from me because I get scary, and I try and do that so that I avoid the fight. But nobody has ever harassed me over it. So then a little bit more about how I turned that into a YouTube channel. Well, again, I saw the potential. YouTube has the potential. There's people, many YouTubers, you'd be surprised how many are making six figures a month. I know a lot of them. I know a few in person, but the potential is huge. And how do you do that? Well, you create good content that helps people or entertains them, and you do it in a way where you're not like offending people, hurting anybody. You're basically putting out good content. So you're either an entertainment channel or an educational channel for the most part. I'm an educational channel. It's my goal to pass on I actually have over 50 years of experience if I do it like most people. I first really started doing drywall a lot in probably 1977. You do the math, it's a lot of years. And but I be honest about it, and I say 35 to 40 because I've done military, I've repoed cars, I've owned and operated a pawn shop for 4 years. So I've had some breaks in there. So I've got 35 to 40 years actual hands-on experience. Oh, and one more thing. I've come to really I think kilts look cool. I like them. You know, it depends on the style. And I'm a barefooter. I actually think they look better with bare feet or sandals. But I've got some work boots. I think they look pretty good that way too. And you know what the bottom line is? That you like it. Not does everybody else like it, do you like it? To heck with what everybody else thinks. You're not out here to impress the world. And the big question, do I wear it traditional style? Well, what that means is, do I go commando? Hell yes. Why would I not? It's more comfortable. Speaking of the skirt, I got so annoyed at people always saying, oh, I can't take any advice from a guy in a skirt, and it's a kilt. I just got tired of hearing that. So one day I put out a video of me doing a drywall repair in a skirt. I'll show you a little clip of that. I've since unlisted it just because it might make too much negativity for my channel. But my point was, did that change the quality of my work? Did that change the character of who I am? No. I don't know why people freak out about how someone else dresses or decorates themselves. Whether you have tats, earrings, whether you're gay or straight, none of that matters. What matters is what's in your heart, what's in your mind, your soul, and how you treat your fellow man. So hey, I'm willing to take questions. If you got questions, ask them down below. And I hope that helped answer that old question. Let me know if it freaked you out. If it did, I can't help it. I'm not going to change for you. If any of you choose to get too ugly, I just block you. It's really that simple. So be nice, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Take care, everybody.